BS wants me to tell our 12-year-old what I did with their teacher. I, 32F, attended a party in March where I got drunk and ended up having a one-night stand with our child's PE teacher. I've lived here all my life, and the teacher used to be my high school classmate. I know we had a thing for each other back then, but we never did anything about it, especially because we're the same sex, and it wasn't such an open society back then. Now another old classmate decides to come back home to get married, and it was their bachelorette. I can honestly say this wasn't a drunken mistake. I mean, I could feel the sexual tension between me and AP. It's almost as if I got drunk intentionally to push guilt aside. And we did it more than once that night after the party. I knew what was going to happen, and I let it happen. I confessed everything to BS a week later because I just couldn't hold in or cover the guilt anymore. I also hoped that it being same sex would lessen the blow, but it didn't. They even seemed more angered. They were raised Christian. BS left the house for 2 days, then moved into the guest room when they came back. They have also refused to eat anything I make, even today, which I understand and take no offense at all. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like our child has noticed much any of this hostility yet. It took up to a month before we finally struggled through the first conversation after my confession, and I was completely open and transparent. 100%. I answered every single question, even as they looked at me like all they wanted was to spit on me. I even apologized for ever thinking AP's gender would make it better in any way. So yes, I know I did wrong. I broke our vows of 13 years. I accept the full blame. But I'm finding too hard to accept the ultimatum that BS has given that I have to tell our child what I did with their teacher. How? How the fuck am I supposed to do that? The real question is even why. I honestly do not see a reason why. BS's reason is that someone might have seen AP and I that day, so our 12-year-old needs to hear it from me before they hear it from outsiders. I've tried to explain that nobody saw us. Nobody suspects anything. Some of us stayed in the hotel the party was held at, and some of us went home. I decided last minute that I was going to go home too, but then AP said I could crash at their place since it was close by. They live alone. No one even heard us talk because we were already walking to the Uber they'd called by then. I was barely even tipsy by then. We did more drinking when we got to AP's, and that's when it happened. So yes, I'm 100% sure that no one else knows about this. The teacher has sworn never to say anything because they don't want to lose their job and the kids they have in training. So why? Why do I have to burden our child with this? BP hasn't threatened to do it if I won't, but it feels like they might say this soon. It seems like this is so important to them for some reason. Is this his way of trying to get revenge against me by making my child lose respect for me? I feel like that's a low he shouldn't even consider breaching. What we need now is MC. But they have refused because it's a small town and everyone knows everyone. They know we don't have to share the full details with the MC, but they still won't go. I know I'm the WS here, but I just don't see why my child need to know. I have cut all contact with AP. I cannot lose my child's faith in me. Will I be unhinged if I choose divorce over telling? I don't even know if that'd even salvage the situation, because I feel like my husband would then tell my child out of spite anyway. He doesn't want a divorce, at least for now, since he wants to give our child a stable home. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Story 2. 1 year later, lessons in healing. 1 year ago, I found my way to these boards, desperate for answers, as I finally started doing the work to repair old betrayals. We thought we'd already gotten through it, but we'd only swept it under the rug, and I still had one big secret to tell. Don't be like me, friends. That shit festers. Real healing has been hard, but worth it. This past weekend, we were out of town visiting some folks. I had a few moments of zingers. At one point, BS pointed out we were driving past a location that was closely tied to my time with AP. Another time, someone told a story about someone else who cheated on their spouse. They were really heated about it, spitting fire over what a sort of person they were. If I hadn't already known that person, the angry storyteller, had previously been unfaithful to their own spouse, I would have struggled with that a little more. But since I did know that, the tirade didn't really bother me. I recognized it was just compartmentalization. I wanted to check in with BS though, so I asked him about it during our weekly meeting once we got home. He said it hadn't even crossed his mind all weekend, He hadn't thought of it when he pointed out the location, and he apparently missed the angry rant about cheaters. Mostly he just felt proud to have me at his side over the weekend. He felt love. He felt connected. We are definitely in a different place these days than when I first showed up here. My fear back then had been that we'd gotten stuck and wouldn't be able to heal anymore. My fear was that I would have to choose between half a life or divorce for forever. My fear was that if he really knew it all, if he knew who I really was, we would be over. But I was tired of living in fear. Can you ever be truly loved if you're not truly known? That question has stuck with me. So I have been doing the hard and brave things to finally fix what I broke so long ago. It's not perfect. There are some things I still want to talk about, but can't quite yet. No secrets, just vulnerable things to share. But now we are actually healing, and that feels very different from the familiar, brittle truce of rug sweeping. It's the difference between a peace treaty and a ceasefire. But folks don't seem to stick around these pits of despair long term. So many people perceive a fair recovery to be fucking miserable with a low chance of success. Confronting the most selfish and shameful parts of yourself is fucking miserable, but not worse than ignoring it and continuing to suffer. So I'm back to share a story of success to help balance that narrative, even if my therapist was ultimately right about healing and moving on. In one of my first posts here, Breakfast noted, I felt my life relationship was framed entirely around my infidelity, and I needed it to grow into something with a more fulfilling and productive future focus. Valid and astute, that's exactly what I needed. First, we had to do the hard parts of healing, to give BS what he really needed, but now our focus is on more. We tried joining an affair recovery community as a way to move forward together, but that wasn't the right fit for us. We also started exploring a different interest together, but there wasn't much community related to that, so I created one. And now we have a group of over 200 people with similar interests in self-growth. That has been pretty cool, actually. Not only do we get to enjoy something fun in a setting that cultivates intimacy, time, space, the intention to be vulnerable and connect, we get to feel like we are building something new together, creating the satisfying future we want to have, and not just burdened by a past we can't change. I could gush about my BS forever. This is the best fucking human on the planet, and I'm so grateful he is by my side. I absolutely did not deserve all the chances he gave me to get my shit together, but I'm so thankful for them. I am a better person because of him, and he is a better person because of me. Not because I cheated on him. Don't be dense. I'm more than just that, you know? We both know we are better together, and we've both worked hard to better meet each other's needs. Yes, he has worked hard too. I felt like a paper doll standing in as his wife, simply there to serve a role. Needs to look like a person, but doesn't require any depth. I felt like the more he knew about the real me, the less he actually liked me. I felt trapped behind a bland facade, unable to risk more disapproval. He's changed the things that created that feeling for me. Today I feel seen, unconditionally accepted, admired. I feel like it's safe to be myself and I won't be rejected. I even feel trusted. A couple months ago, BS made me an offer, a privilege I didn't think I would ever have again. I was surprised, but that really felt like trust. I declined it, for reasons that surprised him. For him, that reinforced that I was worthy of his trust. His offer was genuine, not a trap. I just pointed out concerns he hadn't considered and which showed him that I absolutely prioritize our relationship. That was a really good moment. So that is what healing looks like for us, 11 plus years after infidelity and 6 months post final D-Day. I'm sure I'll still pop in from time to time. I just wanted to leave some resolution for those who come looking for stories later. It has been really fucking hard, y'all. Grab your courage and do it anyway, because it's worth doing. I think even if we'd ended up splitting, I would be here saying the same thing, because it was honestly killing me to fake it like that. I feel much more at peace with myself now, not in an I don't care that I hurt him sort of way, but in an I feel congruent with my soul now, finally kind of way. If you have some truth you still need to trickle, let this be your sign. Trust me, you'll just end up back here in 10 years if you don't. It's really inspiring to see how far you've come and how much work you've put into genuine healing, both for yourself and your relationship. It's clear that you've faced some incredibly difficult truths and made the conscious choice to confront them head-on rather than sweeping them under the rug. That takes a lot of courage. Your story is a powerful reminder that true healing isn't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about acknowledging it, learning from it, and building something new and better on the other side. The fact that you and your BS are now in a place where you can genuinely feel connected and trust each other again is a testament to the hard work both of you have done. I think a lot of people underestimate just how much effort it takes to rebuild trust after infidelity, and how critical it is to be honest with yourself and your partner about everything. It's not just about confessing, it's about continuous self-growth and making choices that reinforce the trust you're working so hard to rebuild. Thank you for sharing your journey. It's a beacon of hope for those who are struggling, and it's a reminder that healing is possible.